Today, we're taking a journey to the very edge of India, to an island where geography, myth, and history all flow together in one truly sacred place. This is the story of the Ramanathaswamy Temple, the temple of the Lord of Rama. There's this one line from our research that just sets the scene perfectly. India ends at Rameswaram. It really captures it. We're at the subcontinent's final frontier, an island that's both a physical end and, in many ways, a spiritual beginning. And to really get what makes this temple so special, you have to start with its location. Because here, the physical geography and the spiritual geography are pretty much one and the same. So the temple is on this place called Pomban Island, which is uniquely shaped kind of like a conch shell. It's cut off from the mainland, sitting just about 40 kilometers from Sri Lanka. And connecting them? A chain of limestone shoals known in tradition as Ram Setu, or Rama's Bridge. And believe me, this bridge isn't just a geological feature. It's the very pivot point of a legendary story. Now, let's zoom out a bit. Rameswaram isn't just some isolated temple. It's a huge deal in the grand scheme of things. It's one of the 4 Chardham sites, which are the most sacred pilgrimages in Hinduism. You see, together, these temples mark the cardinal points of India. A complete pilgrimage means tracing the sacred map of the entire subcontinent, and Rameswaram is that crucial southern anchor. And of course, this incredible place is the backdrop for an even more incredible story. The whole reason the temple even exists is rooted deep in the Ramayana, and specifically in a powerful legend of atonement. It's a great question, right? Why would Lord Rama, the hero of the whole epic, need to atone for anything? Well, the legend goes that after he defeated the demon king Ravana, Rama was actually burdened by the sin of killing a Brahmin. You see, even though Ravana did terrible things, he was also a great devotee of Shiva. So killing a member of the priestly class, no matter the reason, required purification. So to ask for this forgiveness, Rama decided to worship Lord Shiva. He sent his most devoted follower, Hanuman, all the way to Mount Kailash to bring back a sacred lingam. But, it was a long journey, and Hanuman got delayed. Not wanting to miss the auspicious moment for worship, Rama went ahead and made a lingam right there from the sand on the shore. And of course, right then, Hanuman returned, carrying the lingam from the Himalayas. And this, right here, is the heart of the temple's inner sanctum. There are 2 lingams. The Ramalingam, the one Rama made from sand, is the main deity. But, and this is the beautiful part, the Vishwalingam, the one Hanuman brought from Kailash, is, by Rama's own decree, worshipped first. It's a tradition that continues to this day, a way to honor Hanuman's incredible devotion and effort. The whole story is baked right into the name of the place. Rameswaram means Rama Ishvara, which translates to the Lord of Rama. It's a name for Shiva, but it forever ties him to the devotee Rama, who worshipped him right here on this very shore. Okay, so we've talked about the myth. Now let's talk about the temple itself. Because wow, it's an absolute masterpiece of Dravidian architecture. The style with those massive gateways and intricate stonework. This place is truly an ocean of stone. First off, just to give you a sense of scale, the temple complex sprawls across more than 15 acres. That's a massive footprint, especially when you remember it's on a small island. All that granite had to be brought over across the water. And inside this huge complex is its most famous feature, the corridors. The outer corridor alone is lined with, get this, an incredible 1,212 pillars. There's this quote from our source material that just perfectly nails the feeling of standing there in what's said to be the longest temple corridor in the world. All these identical carved granite columns just seem to stretch on forever until they become a single vanishing point. It's a seriously powerful visual. But a trip to Rameswaram is way more than just an architectural tour. For a pilgrim, it's a deep, ritualistic journey, and it all revolves around water. So get this, the island has 64 of these sacred water bodies called theerthams. 22 of them are actually inside the temple walls, and bathing in their waters is a key part of the pilgrimage. And that number, 22, is deeply symbolic. It's meant to represent the 22 arrows from Lord Rama's quiver. But of all these holy waters, the most important one of all is the Agni Theertham. And here's the thing, it's not a well, it's not a tank, it's the ocean itself, right there on the eastern shore of the temple. It's where pilgrims take their first holy dip, usually at dawn. Now, a place this magnificent doesn't just pop up overnight. It's really a bridge to a long and layered history.
The construction took centuries and involved a whole bunch of different kingdoms.
Believe it or not, the temple started out as just a simple thatched shed. Our research shows that the stone sanctum was first built way back in the 12th century by a king from Sri Lanka. Then, much later in the 17th and 18th centuries, local rulers called the Setapatis added the massive entrance towers, the gopurams, and that world-famous outer corridor we were just talking about. And that title, Setgupati, is so significant. It literally means Lord of the Bridge. I mean, it directly connects this dynasty to their role as the guardians of the sacred Ram Setu and this magnificent temple that stands at its head. So as we start to pull all these threads together, you can really see that Rameswaram isn't just one thing. It's this profound point of convergence, where all these powerful forces, both natural and spiritual, all come together. And get this, even the weather here is special. While most India gets its rain from the southwest monsoon, Rameswaram gets its rain from the total opposite direction, the northeast monsoon. The island literally sits right at the junction where these two massive weather systems meet. And so, it all comes back to the sea, doesn't it? The entire pilgrimage ends right where the continent does. The whole journey culminates with the devotees standing there, at the water's edge, having completed all the rituals, and looking out towards the very source of the legend. So that's really the ultimate takeaway here. Rameswaram is the geographical end of India, a pivotal location in the Ramayana, the site of a profound water ritual, an architectural marvel, and a unique climatic meeting point. It's where everything comes together. All right, so really understand this instrument, we first have to get a sense of the place itself. We're talking about a massive 15-acre complex, famous for having the world's longest temple corridor. But beyond its spiritual importance, it's the technical design. That's where we find our very first clues. And that first clue, well, it's the temple's fundamental orientation. This isn't just about facing a holy direction. No, this is the core calibration for the entire instrument. And it was designed to last forever. So check this out. The temple has a perfect 90-degree east bearing. That means it aligns precisely with the sunrise on the equinox. Now, you might know that other astronomical alignments, they shift over centuries due to the Earth's wobble. But the equinox, that's a universal constant. The sun always rises due east on that day. This means the temple's core calibration was engineered to be permanent. And this just brilliantly illustrates the purpose. Think about it. For a community of sailors at a really crucial sea crossing, this wasn't about theology. It was an incredibly practical tool. By just observing the equinox sunrise against the temple's structure, any navigator could perfectly calibrate their sense of direction. It's literally a compass set in stone. Okay, now let's move inside to those famous corridors. Architecturally, they're just a marvel, but our research decodes them as something else. 3 distinct, nested calendars, each one measuring a completely different scale of time. The outer corridor alone has 1,212 massive pillars. Now, that is not a random number. It's a code. So the question is, how do we crack it? Well, here's how it breaks down. 1,200 of those pillars represent a century-scale solar calendar. Think about that. That's 100 years of 12 months. And the remaining 12 pillars, they mark one full orbital cycle of the planet Jupiter. So what you have embedded right there in the architecture is a long-term calendar for tracking both solar and planetary time. It's just incredible. Now let's move inward to the second corridor. Here you'll find 108 Shiva lingas. This number maps directly to the Hindu astronomical system of 27 lunar constellations, which are known as nakshatras. And each of those is divided into 4 quarters, or padas. Do the math. 27 times 4 is 108. So walking this corridor is like physically walking through the entire stellar map of the year. And here's where it all comes together. You have these 3 nested systems. The innermost corridor marks the immediate here and now event of the equinox. The second corridor maps out the annual cycle of the stars. And the outer corridor tracks time on a massive, century-long, multi-generational scale. But the corridors aren't the only instruments here. The temple towers, or gopurams, and the central shrine, the vimana, are also precisely designed to interact with the sun. They act as a massive shadow clock and a solar signaling system. Because of the temple's very specific latitude, something really remarkable happens. For half the year, the shadow at high noon points to the south. For the other half, it points north. But on the day of the equinox, that shadow basically disappears and reverses its direction. This gives you the most obvious, unmissable calibration event of the entire year. You don't need any instruments, you just need your eyes. And the temple actually uses two of its main towers as a complementary system. You've got the shorter East Gopuram, which is more sensitive to changes in the summer sun, and then you have the towering West Raja Gopuram, which is better at tracking the winter sun. Together, they monitor the full year with specialized precision. Now, here is a signal that's totally unique to this specific latitude. During the summer, the sun passes far to the north of being directly overhead. And the result of this, for weeks on end, the north face of the central shrine, the Vimana, is just brilliantly lit up from above, while the south face is in complete shadow. So why does this matter? Well, this visual cue, this north face activation, happens in June. It's a massive, unambiguous signal that announces the imminent arrival of the southwest monsoon. And for a community that depends on the sea and the land, that is the single most critical piece of information you could have. So this instrument doesn't just read the sky, it reads the water too. The temple's many sacred water bodies, or the theerthams, and the two unique lingams in its sanctum, they form another layer of this environmental monitoring system. The temple complex has 22 of these theerthams, and our research decodes this number. It actually corresponds to the 22 operational nakshatras that cover the active seasons for fishing and farming, from about March to December. To move through the theerthams is to physically walk through the productive calendar of the year. Inside the main sanctum, there are two lingams, which is highly unusual. The research shows they represent two completely different, vast water systems. The Ramalingam, which is made of local sand, represents the local sea system. But the Vishwalingam, from the Himalayas, represents the distant glacial and river systems way up north. And the purpose here is just fascinating. The prescribed ritual is to worship the Himalayan lingam first. This isn't just tradition, it's a lesson in large-scale hydrology. It's acknowledging that the Himalayan snowmelt feeds the rivers that flow into the Bay of Bengal, which in turn drives the monsoon that brings rain to the temple. The ritual itself follows the actual causal chain of water. So let's tie all of these pieces together. We've decoded all these different elements, but what is the ultimate purpose of this incredibly complex, multi-system instrument? Well, every part we've looked at has a very distinct function, right? The corridors are calendars. The towers are solar markers. The central shrine signals the monsoon. The water bodies track the active seasons. And the lingams monitor two vast interconnected water systems. It is one single, unified instrument. And the final piece of this whole puzzle is the location itself. The why here is maybe the most important question. And the answer is that this specific island is the one place in all of India where the southwest and the northeast monsoon systems actually meet, allowing for the direct observation of both. And this final quote just says it all. The Ramanathaswamy temple is not just a building, it's an observatory, and it's placed at the most strategic geographical point possible to monitor, measure, and predict the lifeblood of the entire subcontinent, the dual monsoons. It's an instrument of incredible genius, speaking a language of stone, shadow, and water.